Of course, the idea of a Mexican Cape Crusader has a very current parallel with Batman in the United States. And the comparisons don't just end with the mask and the cape. While El Santo preferred a rather more modest two-seater sports car to a Batmobile, he also had an underground cave filled with scientific equipment and a unique arrangement with the local police commissioner. Like Batman, El Santo was always ready to take on the baddies whenever the call came.
This is Professor Roloff. Come in. Can you hear? It's very important, Samson. Emergency. Please answer.
I'm listening, Professor Roloff. This is Samson answering. Come in, Professor. Over.
Listen, Samson. The crypt where you'll find the vampires hiding is located in the forest of White Pines. So please hurry. I think we may save Diana. In a second, we'll be on our way there. And I wish you good luck.
This is typical of many of El Santo's cinematic adventures in the early 1960s. In his nifty two-seater British sports car, El Santo cuts a dashing figure in his constant battle against evil. Here he pits himself against a bunch of sturdy but seriously disfigured vampire women who drink fresh human blood in an attempt to restore their looks. The lead vampire was played by one of Mexico's biggest stars, Lorena Velasquez. What was he like to work with?
Well, he represented the justice. Here it is. He was the Mexican Schwarzenegger. And he was a very nice man, very kind man, very a good actor. Well, the truth, not very good, but he represented the justice. And this is very, very important for the people because everybody in this world, we want to have justice. So if you can find somebody who represent that, it's beautiful, no?
Did you ever see him without his mask?
Yes, just once. When we were making a film, then he said, Lorena, don't you want to meet me? And I said, well, okay. And he takes the mascara, and he said, what do you think? And I said, put it on. No, 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 I said, well, he looks well.
Our country, we don't have the cowboy, we don't have the superhero. We have wrestlers as the main heroes. In that sense, they are admired more than their usual field of activity. They become legends.
God bless Samson.
Who is he, Papa?
That's his secret. I don't think you'll ever know. But I'll say this, my dear. In this age where there are certain evil men who propose to destroy us, Samson is an example to men of goodwill who serve justice.
El Santo was only one of several leading wrestlers tried out in the early days of these films, but he soon became the most popular. His adoring fans would cheer excitedly in the packed cinemas as he triumphed over every conceivable form of evil. As the series progressed, his foes had to be constantly updated, and the imagination of his producers knew no bounds. Martians, mummies, zombies, apes, spies, and even such mythical nasties as Dracula and Frankenstein were pitted against the man in the silver mask and cape. In this example, El Santo confronts not just the Mexican Christopher Lee, but also a casually attired werewolf.
The second part of the 50s and the first part of the 60s are the years where wrestling movies were done. And they were done by the hundreds. Just El Santo did about 50 movies himself. So you can imagine with the popularity of all the other wrestlers like Blue Demon and the Mad Doctor and all this, there were hundreds of movies.
La furia de los karatecas.
Me voy a vengar de él para siempre.
Apóstol del bien. Sus hechizos no tienen límite. Las más extrañas aventuras del Santo jamás filmadas. Se crean monstruos terribles. Santo, el enmascarado de plata.
I would say in a lot of cases, similar to low-budget American film production, it's like you got a wrestling arena, you've got a couple cars, you've got about 5 or 6 monsters, and you got some kids that can sing their hearts out. Let's put it all together, and whatever shows up on the day of shooting goes into the film. If it doesn't show up, then it makes it into the next film.
Santo interfirió con mis planes y debe ser castigado. Y el castigo será la muerte.
¡Qué gusto!
Santo contra el asesino de la televisión. Una peligrosa aventura del Santo en la que tiene que luchar por salvar su vida contra el enemigo más diabólico, el asesino de la televisión.
By the early 1960s, the El Santo films were guaranteed box office, and bit by bit their budgets were increased. The formula, however, was never tampered with. Apart from the essential triumph of good over evil, there were always some lengthy wrestling scenes and at least one musical interlude. And these are some of my favourites.
Poco a poquito te fui queriendo, poco a poquito te me has metido en el corazón. Con todo lo que estudiaste, que no vengas de sufrir, que tus amas platicaron, que cuando las materias lleva mensaje pesado. Una canción de amor sobre un bello atardecer, caminando por la playa estoy, recordando nuestro ayer.
I don't think there were many filmmakers in the U.S. adding musical numbers to horror films. They just started doing it here. It was just a natural thing. They were already doing hodgepodges here where you just throw in a little bit of everything. So if somebody went to the movies, let's say on a Saturday or Sunday afternoon here, they wouldn't have to pick what kind of movie they would go see because they could just go see any movie and would have everything in it.
Hoy me estás ahorcando. Hoy qué quebradora tan fuerte. Hoy sí me doy. Blue.
Hola, Julito, ¿qué tal te fue de viaje?
Hola, campeón.
Way back in the 50s and 60s, the golden age of masked wrestling, the Blue Demon was almost as popular as El Santo. They appeared together in a number of films and were also close friends off-screen. Now in his late 60s, he runs this wrestling training school, but you can't keep a legend down. And much to the delight of his many fans, he still occasionally appears in the ring. Today, the Blue Demon's attendance is mainly to help out his son, who also went into the family business. Although Blue Demon was teamed up with El Santo in many films, the professional rivalry that existed between them is as strong as ever.
I had the opportunity to meet El Santo in several individual contests when we were matched against each other. This was a chance to demonstrate my superiority. Now, I don't want to seem to be boasting, but the facts speak for themselves. And I beat him on 2 consecutive occasions.
One day I discovered that my father was jealous that El Santo had a son who was carrying on his name in the ring. So I said, well, why don't we see if I can become Blue Demon Jr.? And that's really how it all started.
Y definitivamente la conversación de mi papá, mañana empiezas a entrenar.
My friends also encouraged me, but it was mainly the continuing rivalry that's always existed between El Santo and the Blue Demon.
La motivación de mi padre y más que nada el celo profesional que existió entre El Santo